I'm back with my second learning snack today. And today, what we're going to talk about is if you're on a video call or Zoom, how to deal with the long pauses that you hear after you ask a question. What we people have found on Zoom is that unlike traditional question and answering in a meeting where there's a lot of back and forth, when we ask a question in Zoom, there is often a long pause, what feels like to many a long, awkward pause. And this can be for many different reasons. Part of it is just because of the fact that there's a delay. So from the time you say the question to the time people hear it and process the question, there's actually a longer delay than you would have in an in-person meeting. And the other thing is that a lot of people are on mute. So you say a question and they hear the question and then they have to find their unmute button and figure out where that is before they respond. So there's technical difficulties to actually responding quickly in a meeting. And then, of course, let's be honest, sometimes people are checking their email or a message or talking to a kid in the background while trying to seem engaged. So it takes them another second to refocus back on the question and think about what they want to say and process it and then decide to answer. So one tip or trick I have for people is, first of all, just to be more patient on Zoom. So once you ask a question, get used to a longer pause before you start feeling like, okay, what's happening here? What do I have to do with this, about this? Secondly, what you might want to do, and I've seen someone do it really well in a meeting I was at earlier this week, is that they said, okay, I have this question, blah, 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 and I'd like to hear from Joe and Paul when I'm done. And so that gives Joe and Paul time to be like, oh my God, where's my unmute button? And I got to actually listen to this. So you can actually sort of preemptively call on people to give you a response, but that gives them time to both focus on the question and think about their response before you call on them. So it's a much kinder way of cold calling people in a meeting by giving them a heads up and time to think about it. So I hope this learning snack and tip was helpful. And one more thought that I will add on as a bonus is that if you are doing interviewing by Zoom, and if you are interviewing people, then you should know that it feels more awkward. And so sometimes we judge people as more socially awkward on Zoom than we would judge them in real life when there's a normal flow of conversation. So if you're doing an interview and it feels more awkward than what you're used to, keep in mind some of this is because of the technology and not the person themselves. Okay, that's it for today. Enjoy.